Xboxlive service allows users to download new games and play online against friends, but a growing number are discovering Microsoft has banned them permanently. Why? It won't tell you. Appealing the decision? Impossible. The reaction? Outrage.
35 million users worldwide, players the length and breadth of Britain. Xboxlive is a great way of testing your skills and keeping in touch with your mates.
To be able to connect with friends and play together without actually needing to go to each other's houses, which isn't always logistically possible when you do live in a rural area, it's a lifeline.
A lifeline that's suddenly snapped. Over the last few weeks, scores of users have told us they've been cut off, their consoles prevented from connecting to others online. Microsoft says they violated their terms of use. No further explanation given and no appeal possible.
When I turned on my Xbox to find that it had been banned, I felt like really upset and annoyed.
We were accused of tampering or of doing something wrong with the account or violating their terms.
When I spoke to Microsoft, there was no doubt in their mind that it was my son at fault and that as a result it wasn't necessary to have an appeal system because they weren't wrong. I just couldn't believe the arrogance and the fact that they would not move on their point of view.
The bans have been issued by Microsoft's mysterious enforcement team, whose job is to stop Xbox users from breaking the rules, like tampering with a console, committing online fraud, or repeatedly breaching the terms of use. But all the users who've contacted us insist they've done none of these things.
I knew that I didn't do anything and they wouldn't tell me when, why or what I had done.
Microsoft were adamant that they could not be at fault.
So what exactly is Microsoft saying to customers? Well, posing as the parent of an Xbox Live user whose console had been disconnected, we called customer services 3 times, and each time they were quick to blame us for the ban.
Trust me, there has to be some reason. Maybe you can talk to your son. Maybe there's something you didn't know.
As for trying to prove our innocence, no chance.
Unfortunately, there's no way to appeal it. The only thing, once it's been banned, that means the console's kind of, well, dead, so to say. So you can only buy a new console if you want to play online again, okay?
No, not okay. Any other suggestions?
The worst case scenario is that you will buy a new console for Christmas or something like that.
But what if there was just the faintest possibility that, Microsoft itself might have got it wrong?
I can assure you, sir, we have lots and lots of calls about bans, but in 100% of the cases, the ban team is really thorough and meticulous, and they're always right.
Come again?
They're always right.
So now we know Microsoft is infallible. Who'd have thought it?
Well, if you're a customer, you've certainly been given that impression. We, of course, were less sure, so we called them again, this time as Watchdog.
And?
It turns out they were wrong after all.
Yes, just 3 hours after our call, Microsoft put up this statement on its website. Its infallible team had made a mistake. There'd been a software glitch. As a result, they reversed some of the bans and gave affected users 3 months free Xbox Live subscription, plus 1,600 Microsoft points, around £25 in compensation. Sadly, that's come too late for those users like Maxine Tibbett and her 11-year-old son James, who went out and bought a replacement Xbox to get around the ban.
We have 2 identical Xbox consoles and it was a waste of money, basically.
It was also too late for Jo Stewart Matthews and her 10-year-old son Ben.
In the end, we decided we'd go out and buy another console because they had told us he was definitely banned, they wouldn't reverse the ban, and therefore he couldn't get online. I wasn't prepared to give them any more money, so we decided we'd buy a PlayStation, and that cost us £170, which I wasn't really very happy about.
Last weekend, Jo received an email from Microsoft admitting their mistake. The ban was being lifted and their console reconnected.
I was really angry because all along they told us they didn't make mistakes and that it was something Ben had done, which had caused a lot of tension in the family. I wouldn't have bought the console if it wasn't their advice, so I think they should pay for it.
What are Microsoft going to do for mums like Jo?
Well, sadly, not much. They say the advice from customer services was to buy a new Xbox, not another brand of console. So, unfortunately, she won't be compensated. However, those who went out and bought a new Xbox 360 before September the 23rd will be reimbursed for the price of the new console, as long as they can provide proof of purchase. The invalid bans were issued between August the 29th and September the 9th. They deeply regret any inconvenience this may have caused. Anyone who is affected is advised to call their support line on 0800 587 1102 for more information.
Next, love.